Welcome and thank you for tuning in to the Believe in Yourself podcast. I'm your host, Mr. Believe, better known as Kevbiyi, man. And if you yourself are interested in creating your own podcast, let me show you how to do it, man. Let me give you some great advice. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. I only need two things real quick. Listen in close. Number one, it's free. That should say it all right there. But if that's not enough, number two, you can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. That means you can start making money from day one on your podcast and start putting that money to good use. So, let me give you the information. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. That's ANCHOR.FM to get started today. And I want to hear your podcast. Peace. Welcome back to the Believe in Yourself podcast. And today we're sitting down with Francisco, a very young relative who's starting the game young and early and really putting in the work, man. Francisco Flips. Definitely tune in and here's to his story. Catch you guys on the next one. Hey, what's going on? I hope you guys enjoying the episode. This is Mr. Believe, and I just want to invite you guys to follow me on IG at KEV as in Victor, B as in boy, IYI. That's at Kevbiyi on IG if you want to catch any of these interviews live and in color. See you soon. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you guys for all your support and supporting the podcast. Could not be doing this without your guys' support, man. So, while we're waiting for our guest of today, remember, if you want to join the Believe in Yourself community, all you need to do is text BIY to 31996. That's BIY to 31996, and you'll be able to join the community. You'll get all the announcements. You'll get you'll be involved in the Black Dollar Challenge. You know whatever we're challenging. You'll know about any discounts that we'll be having, any promotions that will be coming up, and obviously because, you know, it's just a cool community to be a part of. Next, our Black Dollar Challenge. This month's Black Dollar Challenge recipients is Extraordinary Youth Inc. That's who is sponsoring. Remember, they are a nonprofit organization that helps build, that helps build confidence and public speaking skills in our youth through the arts. And Unity is Wealth is our other Black Dollar Challenge participant, and they are offering up an immunity booster package. With the package, you get a 16-ounce jar of sea moss and elderberry to help boost that immune system. Definitely want to go ahead and do that there. What's going on, brother?
What's going on, King?
Doing good, man. How's your day been so far?
It's going good. It's busy, but I can't complain, right?
Yeah. Hey, if you're busy, well, I like to say productive. Sometimes people say they're busy and they really ain't doing nothing but busy on their phone and scrolling up and down. When you're productive, You're getting stuff done. So that's good.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So you're hydrating a little bit, man. So how's your day? How's the weather over there in Tampa?
It's been pouring down all day, bro. It's been pouring down.
Definitely over here it's been that same way. It's that hurricane season time, man. It's been gloomy all day.
Yeah, since y'all right next to the wall.
Yeah, man. It was a downfall today. Felt like it was in a monsoon the way it was raining.
Right.
Yeah,
yes, sir. Mm.
So how you feeling about the climate of our nation?
You say it one more time, I ain't hear you.
How you feel about the climate of our nation right now? With everything coming up with the election, you got Ye running for president. We just got, I don't know if we're done with the protests, but I ain't heard too much about it. I don't watch news, so I don't know. How you feel about it?
I think it pretty much died down. I haven't really heard too much of that going on. But you know what's funny? You know, a lot of people are talking about this whole cashless society now. And when I went to Chipotle the other day, I took a picture of it because I was kind of blown. They weren't accepting cash.
What?
And I go to Chipotle pretty much every other day. So lineup that they were only accepting cards, and I'm like, ugh.
Wow.
So when it comes right, so when it comes to that, a lot of people have been talking about this whole cashless society, and I mean, I think it has its pros and its cons, but I think there's more cons than pros. You get what I'm saying?
Definitely.
Especially with the homeless people. You know what I'm saying? Like, how are they going to survive? Because just survive off cash. You know. So I mean, I think with this whole coronavirus thing, that during the country in an unpredictable, you know, because it's kind of like, what would the world be without physical cash? You know, like,
I mean,
95% of the time, I personally carry cash. You know, I just never really liked carrying cash, and as a little child, I never liked cash.
Yeah.
But it's weird, kind of like that's going to shift the way the whole world operates in general, you know, and especially like it's going to have a like different countries, they make their currency. We stop having cash. What if other countries stop using cash as well? You know, so it's kind of like it's one of those really predict where it's going. You can just hopefully, you know, pray for the best. You know what I'm saying? And prepare yourself for the worst. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, definitely. This is definitely unprecedented. The world is changing right before our eyes. It's about to be a whole new world. I don't think there has never been a time, I don't think, where there hasn't been some type of physical exchange of monetary things for products. Like whether they were using shells or whatever back in the days, but it's always been a physical thing that you could exchange. And now you're saying we're going totally cashless, strictly on the card. Especially for somebody like me, I like to do a lot of side hustles, you know, side gigs. I prefer cash, you know. I don't want to get taxed extra for side hustles. So it's like, I don't like that at all. It's definitely a little nerve-wracking.
Weird, because it's like even now you got to wear a mask everywhere you go, and it's kind of like just, you know, I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's going to be like the new norm moving forward, but it's just human nature in a whole. I don't think we'll ever be able to be the same as we know it before. You know what I'm saying? Especially how they graduations. You know, like as far as even with sports, like what is sports going to be without the fans in the arenas? When we watch, like we used to see in the crowd, part of the electrifying aspect of you know, like entertainment in general.
Yeah,
what's going to happen to? There's not going to be any more concerts, no more shows. Like, I have no idea. I really don't.
Yeah, like when you try to think about it, it's hard to imagine it without those things. But I do, like, a part of me understands that the world has to evolve, change has to come, things have to change for there to be growth. But coming from where I come from, it's hard to imagine the future without the things that I've had. And I'm pretty sure maybe like the people that were born in the 60s when they came up with the computer and we had the cell phones, they were like, what is going on? And all this crazy stuff's going on. It's a paradigm shift right now.
Yeah, and I think last thing I'll say on this, kind of like me, I'm 23, right? So when I think about like where the future is going, it's hard for me to imagine it because it's just kind of like I don't know, you know. And when I ask people a little bit older than me, because you know, especially with the whole pandemic thing, like I remember vividly when I was young, the Ebola thing, because I was actually working at Chipotle before Ebola thing happened, and I remember the Zika virus thing, and the swine flu thing. You know what I'm saying? And I can't remember what the end result was from either of those three things, because those were all pretty serious and big deals back in the day from what I can remember as a child. You get what I'm saying? But I mean, the whole Corona thing, if it's going to be one of those things where it's just kind of human nature moving forward, or is it just going to be something that is, I don't know, after the election, it just passes out of
but
everybody that like, hey, what happened to the Ebola virus? Ebola, what was the thought from that? You know, like what changes happen in our society from viruses? No one knows. I don't know.
I don't know either.
It's just like, I don't know what's going to happen after this whole virus thing. I'm like, we're just going to have to roll punches.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing, the difference between those other ones and this one is that they're saying it's a lot more contagious. You know, it's a lot easier to spread from human to human. So that's been one of the bigger factors. And I think because of the fear that has been fed into society, it's going to be almost impossible to go back to the regular norm because so many people are just going to become germaphobes. You know, everybody's going to be germaphobes now. So it's going to be really hard to go backwards after a scare like this. Like, people are going to be a little bit more cautious. Obviously, you should have been cleaning up and washing your hands before, but now people are going to be OCD about it. So, well, now that we've had a little introduction, man, thank you for coming on the podcast. Francisco's a guy that I thought had a great story. You know, he's a young gentleman. I feel like I'm a little bit older. He's making me feel old a little bit. I'm 37. He's 23. He's getting on his journey, man. He's definitely doing some great things. And I just wanted to bring him on to share a little bit of his story because it's unique in the way he's been started and been able to start his journey. And I think it's a great example of what a lot of us aspire to have and to build in our own families, because you were able to get a couple of assets handed down to you, which is what we want to see happening more in our community, which I think is great. So I would like you to just tell us a little bit about yourself and where you come from and how you get started.
Okay, so my name's Francisco. I'm originally from Honduras. It's in Central America, and I'm from Puerto Cortez is what it's called. And I came to Tampa. I moved to Tampa when I was 3 years old. And my dad brought me over here. Him and my mom had separated. So my dad had full custody of me, and he was traveling in the Department of Defense a lot when I was a kid. Primarily, I was raised with my grandmother. Mm-hmm. And then growing up, like I was telling, I pretty much had a diverse childhood because I grew up a little bit of everywhere. You know, I grew up with aunt. You know, had our own set of rules. I was, got to a point where members like uncles and stuff like that, and it was just always a constant. I was always constantly around family, if that was the case, because everybody was always my dad out where they could about it.
Okay.
Because he was a single father. Grandma would step in and help him out. My uncles and then did their part, you know. And then a little bit about my childhood. To be honest, I was a little bit of a knucklehead. To be honest with you.
Aren't we all?
To be honest, one of my clients that I just connected with, she actually used to be an assistant principal. So she was asking me, like, wow, you sound real. How old are you? I'm like, okay, I'm 23. So then when I started going through the whole consultation, she tells me she's an assistant principal. And I'm like, what school you like, oh, Greco. And I'm like, oh, okay. So she asked me, did I know a gentleman by Mr. Boyd? And I'm like, yeah, that used to be my assistant principal when I was in middle school. So it turns out her brother.
Wow.
And so it turns out that my old assistant principal, a brother, and man, listen, he used to grab me up on my collar. I used to be in his office every single day, like every single day without fail. And it's just crazy how the everything turns back full circle in a sense. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Because even Mr. Boyd will tell you, like, I would have what I'm doing now. I would have never thought I would be doing based off the path that I was on prior to me getting into real estate and stuff like that. So yeah, that's pretty much where I started from. Is just being a knucklehead. I was influenced a lot. Some of the friends that I had that was into like the street life and so-called gangs and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But I always had a mind of my own, but I followed the crowd. Like I was blessed to have confidence.
Yeah.
And so it's like, go to you, I will go with you to see you jump off the bridge, but I'm not finna jump off the bridge. You get what?
Yeah. You got your own mind.
Right, because it's kind of like I got common sense. I know like if you're doing that it doesn't connect with me, I'm just not. If I was that type, it always ended up having me in some awkward. Obviously, if my friends got in trouble, I got in trouble. Then my grandma asked me, "Why? How we done? Why are you doing this? Why are you doing that?" Mm-hmm. And you just guilty by association off rip,
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting, man. So you said you was from Honduras. I got a question. Have you ever heard of Dr. Sebi and the Orisha thing that he has out there? Is it really big out there? Is it really like a big part of the community?
So the last time I went to Honduras was in this past November in 2019, right? And I asked my uncle that was when we was out in Honduras, how far is Dr. Sebi's village from where we was at, and it's about a 4-hour drive, right?
Oh.
But it's going to take you all day to get there because you got to pretty much leave at like 5 in the morning, and you got to hop on a bus, then hop on like 5 different buses to get there because their transportation system are run by actual families, so they don't have any public transportation. So the transportation you have is run by like families that decided, okay, well, we're finna buy a bus and then we finna create our own stops, and then that's pretty much it. So if they decide not to ride the bus, nobody's riding the bus that day. You know what I'm saying? Because there's no public transportation. That's why it takes you so long. You might have to like catch a taxi. It all depends. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They don't. Their roads and their infrastructure, as far as the commute in certain parts of the country, is pretty much there's no stop signs. There's not a lot of stop signs, which blew me because it's like when you're driving, you're literally just everybody is free for all.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it was culture shock because I don't go there often. You know, like go there probably like once every 5 years, or you know, like it's not something that I don't go over there, you know, like frequently, right?
Yeah. Hey, it's Mr. Believe, and I want to tell you about Unique African Boutique. It is a beautiful collection of authentic clothing, jewelry, accessories, and art that are made with the highest quality from artisans in Africa. What you get from Unique African Boutique, you can't get from anywhere else. Our entire collection is made up of one-of-a-kind pieces that promote the culture, music, and lifestyle of Africa, with care for the artisans and their families and their livelihood. Shop Unique African Boutique today at shopuniqueafricanboutique.com.
So the most recent time that I went there, I could get culture shock because even when how they practice real estate, they don't have real estate as agents as a profession. You know what I'm saying? Like they don't have a board of over here in Florida is called DBPR, so Department of Business Professionals and Regulations. They don't have that over there. They just have it. Want to be a real estate agent? Be a real estate agent, and that's what your title is.
Wow!
You know what I'm saying? There's no
free for all.
Right. There's no title company. There's no real estate attorneys. There's no real estate agents, brokers. It's literally like, hey, you want to do real estate? Go ahead and do whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Wow. So
there's no regulation. It's like it's a huge culture shock to go. It makes me grateful for the things that we have over here because the hospitality there is different. You know.
Yeah.
People different, and it's just it gives you a new perspective of how good to have it over here. If that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. I can relate with that sentiment because my parents are from Nigeria and I visited once. And when I went there, it was definitely a culture shock, similar to the way you talk about it. Like, it's a free-for-all out there, especially on the roads.
Yeah.
Only in the major cities do they have traffic lights. I don't think I've seen any stop signs. But if you're driving anywhere outside of the major, like the center of the city, like you could be on the outskirts of the city, there's no traffic lights. People are speeding. Like, the highways that we have here, if you see like a 3-lane highway, they're fitting like 5 cars on there and everybody's zooming by. Like, it's definitely a culture shock, but it's fun though. It makes you appreciative of what you have here, and also you can see what opportunities you could possibly take back home if you ever choose to, and try to start something up. And the reason why I asked you about the Dr. Sebi was because he was the main reason why I changed my diet a few years back and I became vegan. Right now, I don't call myself vegan. I just say I eat whatever I want, but I don't eat meat. But I don't like the whole label of it because once you tell somebody you're vegan or vegetarian and they see you eat something, they're the first person that, oh, you said you, oh, no, and I'm like, yo, I just eat what I want. Yeah. So I just say I eat what I want and I eat to live. That's it. I don't like to put that label on it. So you had an interesting childhood, like you said. Most of us, we get in trouble with knuckleheads. And I just think that goes back to, we need more programs in our community at the end of the day, especially during the summer times, to help us. We got all this energy, we got to expand, man. If there's nothing to do, idle time, man, gets you into trouble. So how did you wind up getting into real estate? Because your trajectory was definitely off.
Right. And so it started off of my first trip, right? Mm-hmm. So I got an uncle that he has a house over there. And the house is basically how my parents' house in Honduras is set up. Is think about a big piece of land, right? And then there's big houses on this big land. So you got my uncle's house, you got my great grandma, my great aunt's house right here, all on the same, right? So the only thing that divides these houses is these fences, right? Mm-hmm. So when I first trip over there as an adult, what I remember as a child, there was a little wooden house in this house on the left, right? I went over there. It was a completely new built house from the ground up. It was like a 5-bedroom, 4-bathroom house.
Wow.
Right? So I'm walking through the house and I'm like, how did this house build it? Like, I don't remember it being here. And he was just telling me, like he built it from the ground up. Like, okay, so are you in real estate? What do you do? Yeah. He was like, yeah, I build houses. I build houses over here. I build houses over there back home. And I knew he had a hand in like construction. Yeah. I just didn't know he did that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And from there, I just started asking him a whole bunch of questions. I just started like, how long did it take you to build a house? Or like, what, where did you learn how to build houses? And then he was, giving me a little bit of information. He wasn't giving me the whole sauce. He was just giving me some basic information at the time. And then I asked him, I was like, hey, would you mind teaching me how to do real estate? And my uncle's the type of person that he doesn't like to, he's not going to give away his sauce. Like, you know what I'm saying? He was just like, I hear you want to do it, but I'm not really trying to, I don't know. Come talk to me later. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I took myself to basically learn how to, get into real estate. And then at the time I was working at this car, my friend came up to me and was like, hey, I want you to take this real estate course. And I'm like, perfect. I was just looking for a way to get into that. So I took the course, and halfway through the class, because it was an in-person class, 2 nights, halfway through the class, I just started feeling like, oh, maybe this is not right. And then I learned about this concept called wholesaling. And then once I learned about the concept of wholesaling, it just clicked in my mind immediately, because it's like I grasped it fast, and I'm like, shoot, my heart can be my uncle. Since he already buy land, he already buy property. All I got to do is just find a house that somebody want to sell, and I'm in there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's pretty much like my journey in real estate. I took the projection that my uncle gave me at first, and I took it upon myself, learn how to get through the course, and then I just started educating myself on information that was out there. Fast forward, I'm in real estate now.
How old were you when that began? When that first started?
I would say 19, going on
20. Sometimes people, that sucks that your uncle did that, but sometimes looking back at it, being where I'm at now, and I look at my little nieces and nephews sometimes he probably wasn't taking you seriously. He probably wanted to see you take some initiative and then say, okay, let me see if you're really serious about this. And it was good because you put your intentions out there, and look what happened. Somebody came and, hey, you want to take a class? That's just how it works sometimes. So now you proved to him that you want to be a part of it. So is he more involved now?
Yeah. Not really. He pretty much did, like, I took that rejection very, I didn't hold it against personal, you know what I'm saying? So I took it in the sense, like, I'm going to sell these houses, you know what I'm saying? Like, and him and his wife, they see me, like a couple of deals that I have. One of my first deals was actually in the neighborhood they in. So when he seen my sign out there, he was just like, okay, is this you selling this house over here? I'm like, yeah.
There you go.
Like my AI moment, you know what I'm saying? When AI crossed border,
yeah.
right there.
There you go. There you go.
I got the concept down, and you know how like the business operates, stuff like that. But basically, the mechanics of going through a deal, I really did reach out to him after that. You know what I'm saying? It was one of those things where it's just like I took that as motivation to go ahead and just keep on, you know, like feeding myself the information. Because he was self-taught himself too, you know, so it's kind of like, granted, you know, like he already has his relationships, established business partners and stuff like that, so I'm pretty sure from his perspective, he was like, okay, what can a 20-year-old do for me, you know what I'm saying, like, you my nephew, I'm not finna, you know, so it was like, I don't really hold it against him, because it's kind of like, now I know how to walk myself through whatever it is I need to get through, or if I don't, I have a pretty good network to rely or coach me through my stuff already.
Well, I would like to say, man, congratulations on that, because that's a testament to your resilience right there. Some people who will get rejected by family members, I've heard people, and they'll just turn away from it altogether and say, "Oh, I ain't gonna do that at all. My uncle didn't want to help me," but you kept with it.
Right? Yeah, I would not be denied. But that's something that's always stuck with me, because it's like I always took rejection as a good thing. You know, like I always took that. I gotta know. That means I gotta be close to it. You know, and that's just how I look at it now. You know, it's kind of, it's not gonna hurt and me not worse than somebody telling me no.
Oh, that's an amazing attitude to have, man. That's great. You know, looking at rejection, you're like, man, I'm that much closer to my yes. That's great, man. That's the mentality more people need to take. Just because somebody says no, that means you're closer to that yes. You have to pass through a few no's before you get to that yes, man. For you to be at your age, I know at that age, well, I was still in college trying to play football, so I wasn't even thinking, not even on that wavelength at all. I was like way far left. I didn't start learning that till later on in life. So that's another great thing, a testament to you, man. Good job, man. You killing it right now.
Yes, sir.
So since you started on this real estate journey about, what, four and a half years ago now or something, about that?
Yeah, about 2 years, 2.5 years, yeah.
Okay. So has there been a time or a situation or a difficult client that made you rethink this journey that you have begun?
My first ever client. So basically, it took me 9 months to make the sale, right? And along the way, it was like some hiccups. There were like some deals that fell apart, some didn't, or you know, like there was that caused the deal to fall apart, right? Mm-hmm. Across this one client where she was relocating from Georgia, and she was referred to me by military, and that person. So it's part story, but I'm a. So I got referred to somebody that was in the military. She was looking to rent, and it established a relationship, got her situated, and she referred me to her friend.
Okay.
And her friend was looking for a house. So I'm like, all right, cool, yeah, I'll be down. No problem. So we going through the process. I talked to her, let her know what you should expect. This is what you should need, and everything was going great. You know, like we found her a house. Found her a builder to build a house. They were building her house from the ground up. And then the closer we got to the closing day, all these little issues just start happening, right? So the first issue, I think it was with her job situation. So she had a tentative offer letter, but it didn't start date. And that was an issue for the loan process. So I'm over here trying to call her HR department, like, hey, you have a house that's trying to close on. Do you mind giving us a start date so she can, you know, like go house? They were like, well, can't give her a start class of background, and then
oh man.
So I think that was one of the issues. Then the second issues, there were like minor cosmetic things that the builder missed when they were building the house, and it was like nitpicking everything. I'm talking about like she wanted the stones in front of the house to be cut a certain way. She wanted the. I'm like, okay, so that's all minor stuff. Take that. And then the bathroom, the closet, the issue, I guess they had the measurements in the closets wrong or something like that.
Oh man.
And, right. So it was just a whole bunch of issues cleaning up to the closing day. And then you know, we ended up working all of those issues out. And then the day of closing, bro. The day of we we thinking we good to go. We doing the final walkthrough. They fixed everything that she asked them to fix. And I guess there was a discrepancy with the number that they told her to bring to the tech. So cash to close was when they sent out the CD, the close. They sent it out for like $3,500 or something like that, right?
Yeah.
And like 2 hours before we were supposed to go to the title company, they sent an updated closing disclosure, and then the closing amount like $5,000 or something like that. So she's pissed. She's like livid, right? And it got to the point where I had to explain to her the reason for that, right? And oh my god! So long story short, yeah, it's a super long story, bro. Super long. The long story short, we get to the closing table, and she's like, "I'm not closing on that house. They gave me the wrong amount. I got $3,500. That's what I'm gonna give them. If they don't want to give me my house, I'm just not gonna buy the house."
Gosh.
Now, mind you, in my mind, I'm going 9 months without no sale, right?
Yeah.
And we're talking about $10,000 on the line. In my mind, this lady's been like talking crazy to me. I'm dealing with her family members. The opinions of her mama was a part of it. Her mama was nitpicking everything. The brother was nitpicking everything, and it was just like, oh my god, like they were damn near talking her out of buying the house. So, and it was nothing wrong with the house at all. It was built from the ground up. It was just like those minor things that could easily been fixed, right?
Yeah.
So in my mind, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna just give this lady this $2,000, and then I was just like, I'm do that, and then like wash my with it, and just like not do nothing, and then 6-7 months of hard work just go down the drain.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I ended up paying the $2,000 for her out of my. And she was happy. She got in her house, check, and that was pretty much it, bro. But she was like super difficult, like personality wise. Her personality was like super flamboyant, And I'm very chilled. I'm very laid down, like down to earth. I like confrontation, but I respect confrontation. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So a lot always addressed it a little bit disrespectfully. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of patience, a lot of fortitude, a lot of
Thank you for tuning in to the Believe in Yourself podcast. Now I'm your host, Kevbiyi, and I just want to say thank you to everyone who's been tuning into these episodes. And I pray, and my prayer is that everyone has been getting some type of inspiration, motivation, or even some tips and tricks of the trade that they can use in their everyday journey or lives into entrepreneurship, professionalism, or just downright living. Now, if you want some more from our guests on the show, we're eventually going to be partnering with them and bringing you some special discounted items later on. So if you love these guests and love the things that they have to offer and you would love to support and build the community, all you need to do is text BIY to 31996. That's BIY to 31996, and let's grow this community together. Peace.
Patience isn't even the word, bro. Like,
wow.
It was just a lot. And I was her son's age. Me and her was the same age. So it was certain points of the transaction where she was talking to me like I'm her son. Like, man, listen, no disrespect to your son, but me and him, we totally two different people.
Exactly. And I'm not your son.
So that was an uphill battle that I had to fight. And me being so young, it's like you kind of have to, like, not necessarily fight for people to respect you, but you have to, like, I took it upon myself know what I'm talking about when I'm telling people certain information. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So it's like I'm probably knowledgeable enough to understand, the process, understand what goes into buying a house, and all of the mechanics and all the minor things that most people look over. That particular time taught me how to be a little assertive when it comes to clients. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And be not necessarily direct, but stand my ground in my position and understand. Like, hey, I understand this is a nerve-wracking process for you, but trust me, I know what I'm doing, and we're gonna leave that. And so she taught me how to be a little bit more assertive when it comes to parents to have personalities.
Yeah, that sounds like a very stressful situation, especially after not being paid for half a year. But you were able to keep yourself together, and found a solution. That is the biggest key in that.
Right.
You didn't allow that situation and walk away from it and walk away empty-handed. You still made a deal happen, and you learned from it on top of it. So that right there is another commentary to you. So what is the biggest accomplishment that you've made? What would you say is your biggest accomplishment?
I think my biggest accomplishment is probably just telling myself that I think, to me, I don't count my accomplishments, like stacking them up and being like, okay, look what I've done. But the biggest accomplishment to me and my staying out of the cemetery. You know, like some of the friends, you know, like not necessarily like just like now, but continue the things that I was doing when I was like 18, 19, 20, I probably would be in a lot. I wouldn't be in the position that I'm in now. You know what I'm saying? Based off the people that I associate with back in school, based off some of the associations and who I was aligned with myself. And I could be in jail based off, you know, like the type of people I was surrounding myself with. I think like my biggest accomplishment is just staying healthy, alive, not in jail, and not, you know, like I know that might seem a little cliche, but there was a point in life where it was in high school, right?
Yeah.
Going back to bringing stuff like that. So in 2015, I'm a senior in high school. I ended up getting a gun charge, and I got kicked out of school. So I couldn't even graduate when I originally supposed to graduate because they kicked me from public school. And I think over here in Hillsborough County, you can't be in public school with a felony on your record, right? And basically, the long story short, it was a friend of mine. He picked me up from work. He had the gun in the car. The gun was under my seat. We got pulled over, and then I didn't, you know, the whole not telling and stuff like that was a thing back in the day. They depended on me. It was under my seat.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? I couldn't even graduate on time. So it got to a point where I was like, okay, well, I'm going to just go to the Army, you know? It wouldn't even accept me in the Army or the Navy because I had that felony on my background.
What?
Right. They didn't convict me of it, but I was in charge of the gun charge, so I had to go through like a year of probation. I had to do a whole bunch of service hours and stuff like that. And, it just like looking back, it was just like one of those experiences of like, that was the moment for me. I've got to start aligning myself with more quality people, better people, and just figure out, you know, what to do in life. You know, that option I was already staying up by myself or on my own. I could not necessarily afford to go to college, but me and my dad didn't have best relationships for me to get FAFSA or financial aid. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, well, I got how to, you know, pay rent.
Maneuver.
So kind of like my mindset of like, okay, well, I got to figure out how to survive. I'll learn something along the way. You know, so I always knew I had to learn something in order to make money. I just knew that college was going to be like a viable option for me because my schedule wasn't good. You know what I'm saying?
That's what's up, man. That's a great story right there. You definitely had to go through a little bit of hardship to learn that tough lesson, man. All those friends ain't really your friends, and you went through something that showed you that. I'm glad. I mean, looking back at it, like you said, you wish you didn't make that decision, but it showed you, you know, that you had to be a lot more careful and more accountable for who you keep around you and who's around you, man. That's a tough lesson to learn.
Yeah, and I really couldn't blame nobody but myself. It's kind of like, okay, like, yeah, that boy at the time, and yeah, that was my friend, but it's kind of like nobody told me to get in the car. You know what I'm saying? Like, I could have just took, you know what I'm saying, rode my bike home. I chose to get in the car. So it's just kind of like, it was one of those things where it's like, I really couldn't blame nobody but myself, you know? And I think that was like the lowest moment I've had. And then from that moment, that's how it ties into, like, that's my biggest accomplishment by not being dead, jail, whatever the case may be. Because the only thing I asked for at that particular time. It just for me not to be in that position ever again. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, that was pretty much it. So that's why I look at that as my biggest accomplishment.
That's a great accomplishment, man. That's a great one to learn that one. And I wouldn't even call him a friend, because to me, a friend is going to either step up and say that was mine, or at least give you a disclaimer. Hey, I got a little something in the car, man. You know, just to give you a heads up or something. That's what a real friend would do. But it's a lesson, nonetheless. So now, fast forward, you're getting your real estate. You're doing your thing now. And I know we spoke a little bit earlier, and you have a little bit of a busy week. So when things get a little bit stressful for you, like, what do you do as a stress relief?
I run. Pretty much, I like to, like I have like a what you call it, an athletic background. Like I was always into sports, but I just never took it serious. Like play ball. I'm only like 5'8". You know what I'm saying? So I'm not super tall. I'm fast. You know what I'm saying? So there's not much I can do off field, but other than run, basketball court, only thing I could do is pretty much. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So
it's like I just always had speed. You know what I'm saying? So I just run. To be honest, helps me clear my mind. Growing up, when I was playing sports, that was just my leg ready to pass it. You know what I'm saying? So I remember growing up when my dad was teaching me how to run for like stamina and have stamina. You breathe in and out. You know, that way you the circulating the air that's going through your body. That's pretty much just how I deal with stress. I probably go a mile, run a mile, then walk back or run a mile. Yeah, so that's how I deal with stress. And I try to decompress a lot by just being in silence. You know what I'm saying? It's pretty hard when you have kids. Like, sometimes I'll just go to my house and stuff like that, away from the kids, and then I sit in silence, or I just the music or listen to Billy Allsbrooks. I don't know if you're familiar with Billy Allsbrooks, but I listen to him a lot.
Okay, well that's dope, man.
Pretty much cope with stress by just exercising, listening to Billy Allsbrooks.
That's dope. I can relate with that. Number one of my favorite things is to sit in silence. Whenever I'm stressed, I don't like to hear nothing but my own thoughts so that I can focus and calm down. And I like to work out. Running, I'm trying to get more into that because I notice when I do run, I feel a lot better afterwards and I am able to clear my mind. But just running sometimes is just hard. So I'd rather just like do like a workout because I am a former athlete. So I like to be active. I don't like to be sitting around, but I do need to get more into running. So even though the climate of everything that's been going on is pretty uncertain at this time, and I was asking everybody before, like what's their 5-year plan, and like the way things are looking, like it's better just to roll with the punches. But do you have an ultimate goal of where you see yourself within the next 5 years? What you might be doing?
I think I'm doing something along the lines of states. So hopefully about in 5 years, hopefully my own brokerage because I'm up to take my broker's exam in October. So once I pass, I'll be eligible to go out on my own and create my office like that. But my 5-year plan would probably own my own office. Probably have like a mentoring program as far as like people how to effectively maneuver in real estate. Because you're always learning. Even to this day, I'm still learning. Going to school and learning about real estate is completely learning how to sell real estate. And it's one of those things you're never gonna run out of. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think that's one of my biggest, my top things on my 5-year plan. I run a operation, have a mentoring program to train, even if you're not a part of my brokerage, just train. Obviously, a mentoring program for the youth. Yeah. What exactly is going to entail, but I to speak, 16-year-old me, the 16-year-old me, the 17-year-old me, whatever the case. And then overall, my 5, if I keep what I'm doing now, I should be in a space. I'm not necessarily worried about how many sales I have to make this year, how many people I have to, educate this year. I just want to be where, it sounds crazy because I'm so young. I'm going to be 28 in 5 years. But I just in a space where I'm comfortable with the life I impacted and, where I'm at in career-wise, mentally, health-wise, all across the board, just being calm and collected and not necessarily worried about where my dollar going to come.
That's dope, man. That's dope. I commend you for those things, man. For being your age, sometimes people say, oh, you're so young, but you're just determined, man. You just took life and you just went straight ahead and did it. Some people that go to college, I went to college. After I finished college, I was still wondering what I wanted to do. So what you are is a testament to somebody who, when you put your mind to something, just go for it. Don't wait, don't waver, just go for it and learn everything that you can learn. And I like that you want to give back. That's one big thing that I feel like we all must do. And being the person and what you're doing right now, you would be a great example for the youth, especially in your area, because you can tell them about your experiences and you can tell them, hey, I'm not that much older than you, and I still am able to get through. So trust me. And I think that'll resonate a lot with the youth out there. So that's a really good thing that you're doing. So what mistakes would you say you wish you could have avoided in the beginning? Are there things that, maybe you said I didn't have to go through? I know sometimes mistakes can be good lessons, but what mistakes do you feel like kind of wasted your time, if any?
Man, I made a lot of mistakes, especially in real estate. So I think in real estate, one of my first mistakes, not my money properly. Because and I'm going to be the first one to say I've done messed up a couple of times. And remember, bro, after like my second deal, I literally started asking people what to do with money. Like, where do you put your money at? How do you save? Like, out of just your traditional savings and account, what do you do with your money? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know a lot of 22-year-olds that can pick up and be like, well, boom, I got a commission check for $5. You know what I'm saying? What do I do with this $5,000? Nobody taking out taxes from it. For your own taxes, like, what do I do with it? I think one of my first mistakes was not managing my money properly. I think secondly, I was too many shiny objects in the sense of aspects. You know what I'm saying? Because in real estate, you know what's crazy? A white man told me this. He told me in real estate, everyone's gonna have their hands in your pockets. Everything you do, everyone is gonna have their hands in your pocket. They're gonna try to sell you something. They're gonna try to sell you software that allow you to so-called run your business more efficiently. They're gonna sell a product that's gonna allow you to communicate and all so-called, 100 transactions or streamline. You don't know how to learn how to like operate these. You just yourself back. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
One of my mistakes was I tried to hire people too early. You know what I'm saying? Like, I tried to hire cold call, and I would, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just like, pay you $150 a week to set my appointment.
Hey, it's Mr. Believe, and I'm here to tell you about Titan Protective Services, where they protect what matters most to you. Titan Protective Services provides innovative security solutions for apartment complexes, rental properties, and condominiums. We believe that as a family-run company, we are here to make sure your property is taken care of and protected from vandalism, theft, and destruction. Contact us today for your security needs. Visit www.titanproserv.com today or call us at 844-39-TITAN. That's 844-39-TITAN.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Properly training myself or sharpening my skills on how to talk to people or different type of people. My money. Or I'm buying all different softwares to try to generate business. I don't know how to retain the business. I'm wasting my money. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's the second mistake, is just chasing too many shiny objects that's so to help you improve your business or put you further ahead from your competition. Only going to put you further ahead in your competition is how you treat. That's literally it.
It's relationships, pretty much.
That's like most of my business. That's solid business. That's less stressful is from people that I know. And that's what I had to realize earlier. Like, I don't have to spend $500 on this software to effectively run my business when I could spend $10 for something that's the exact same thing, and I personal connection with somebody. So I think those were my top picks, is how to educate myself properly on managing my money, because everyone wants to make money, but nobody wants to learn how to keep money.
Exactly. That's the key.
Right. So, learning how to properly manage my money, when to bring on help and not to bring on help, and that's pretty much it. And not chase objects that so-called are going to tell your business, when the only thing focus on is on nurturing the relationships and making sure that you treat people accordingly. You know what I'm saying? That's
some good stuff right there. Definitely, I can agree with that. The first time you start making lump sums of money, it just feels good, and you just want to go buy your whole world. Sometimes you got, I got it now, I got it. But you got to learn, man. You got to learn. You learned a good lesson, learning.
Oh yeah, and I think that it naturally happens, because it's like it's not like we have a problem of splurging. We just have a habit of, when we get that debit card, we're not even looking, swiping.
Yep.
And we look at it, where my money went.
Exactly.
So that's pretty much it.
Yeah, I had to learn that the hard way too. When I get a lump sum, put it somewhere else, put it in some investments, put it over there, and don't even worry about it.
Oh yeah.
So what are some tips that you have for any aspiring entrepreneurs or real estate investors out there?
I got a couple tips. The big one is just be true to yourself and understand that relationships is what's going to drive you further than, whatever amount of money you're going to put into marketing or whatever the case may be. Like, marketing is a big aspect of it. It's a big deal, a big part of it. But I think, like, my business mostly comes from relationships. Like people that I personally know and, establish some type of rapport with genuinely, like not going for someone with the intent of like, this person's friend so I can benefit from it. You know what I'm saying? Like, just genuinely connect people, let them know what you do, let them know like how to help them out. And you pretty much gonna stay on top of mind if you just treat people. And I think another tip I give is never measure your success based off what someone else is. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of times we look at other people that do the same thing, like, well, damn, why they doing this? Why they doing that? How can I do that? When I'm focused on is just continuing the repetition. Because eventually those small things are going to add up to bigger and greater things. You know what I'm saying?
There you go.
And that's it. Yeah, don't try to run before you you crawl.
Yeah, definitely. I've recently learned that, at least about business. I feel like the number one thing in any business, no matter what your business is relationships. Because you have to have some type of customer service skills. You're going to be talking to people. And those people are always going to introduce you to more business later. And then that second point where you made, like, not comparing yourself to other people. Like, I have my own mantra. Said, as long as I'm better than what I was yesterday. I'm better than the person yesterday, I'm good. I try to have my blinders on. I used to run track in high school. So it's like, you got to focus on your lane. If you're looking at that other lane, you're going to get beat. That person's going to run right by you. You got to focus on your lane and your lane alone if you want to really make this thing happen. So now we're getting into this or that segment. We're going to figure out how you think and how you feel about a couple of things here. So, which one would you prefer? Audiobooks or podcasts?
I'm going to go with podcasts.
Okay. Do you have any podcasts that you would suggest to some of our listeners out there?
I'm big on Earn Your Leisure.
That's a great one. That's a very good one. That's a real good one.
Yeah, Earn Your Leisure. There's this guy, Tom Ferry. He's a really a good podcast that I listen to about personal development, spiritual development, and listen, like every piece of content that this man be putting out, I be feeling like he just be writing it down. he literally like be speaking to you, or be speaking to people in a sense of like give it to you blood raw. He sugar coated, doesn't dress it fancy. He just direct, uncut, real, and it's stuff that you need to hear, not necessarily want to hear.
I like people like that.
And I watch so much, man. It's hard to pinpoint, but I think pretty much the top is because they always bring on different.
Yeah.
So I think that's the main one that I in.
Yeah, definitely. I love Earn Your Leisure as well. I definitely like to listen to them. I usually binge listen to like 5 or 6 in a row because I don't listen to podcasts every day, but when I do, Earn Your Leisure is definitely at the top of my list. Which is your favorite app, Facebook or Instagram?
I'm gonna go with Facebook.
Okay.
But Instagram is the better app, but I'm gonna go Facebook. But and the reason I say that is because both of them can be very distracting at times.
Yes.
Very distracting sometimes, but I think Facebook is because Facebook is a little bit more than Instagram. Because Instagram, you got all these bunch of hashtags, and then next thing you're looking at 10, 20 different accounts in like a span of 20 minutes,
Yeah.
So, like, I prefer Facebook, but Instagram is a better.
Yeah, for me, Facebook is just too much going on. Instagram, though, you could definitely get lost and go down a rabbit hole, looking at a hashtag, looking at the tag, looking at the @ looking at this and that, and before you know it, you just spend an hour there, and you just wanted to spend 5 minutes. So, recently we had this versus battle. You told me you like any kind of music. Last night we had some legends on there. We had the Dogs. So which one who do you think won? Snoop Dogg, did you get a chance to look at it? Okay, so don't tell me who won. Who would you prefer? Snoop or DMX?
I'm gonna be honest. When I used to play baseball, we used to blast. My coach used to blast as DMX.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go with DMX.
Definitely. DMX definitely has that them sports musics, like it was definitely the locker room music of the 90s. That voice, that raspiness, just the aggressiveness, it got you hyped and ready to go, man. Especially just X gonna give it to you,
Yeah, I can't remember the exact song, but it was like, we ain't going
anywhere, we right here, yeah. I like that one. Yeah, man, that gets you hyped. So this next one I got, man, recently, our Mr. 23, Mr. Jordan, dropped out this documentary, and it brought it back to the light, and everybody's asking this question. Who's the greatest player? Now, I think there's greatest players for each era, but if we're gonna enter the debate, who would you choose out of LeBron or Mike J?
My bad. Somebody calling me.
No problem.
The only reason I hate the debate is because, to me, you just can't really compare the two. I don't think one is more inferior than the other. I think they both, contributed to the game as much as they can in different aspects. And they play two totally different positions. You know what I'm saying? Like, but I can argue who made the most impact on like black culture or urban culture or whatever. I would say MJ. You know what I'm saying? But like as far as who is a better player, I don't think you can compare the two because it's just like
yeah, they're two different styles.
Right, yeah. It's just like they're two different positions, two different people. Now who made the most impact on the culture? I would probably say MJ.
Yeah, I think after watching that documentary, I think MJ opened the door for players to be making number one what they're making now. And especially with the endorsements and all those other things, like he definitely opened up that door for people to be making these outrageous salaries and outrageous endorsement deals. Because before Jordan, basketball players weren't getting that much for endorsements. They didn't think basketball players could sell shoes. I don't know why not, but now everybody's got a shoe. So this last question that I got, it's a little, it's my own debate that I have every time I go to the grocery store, and I ask everybody this question. I could never choose which one. It's always tugging at me. I'm always trying to decide Oreo cookies or chocolate chip cookies. Which one would you prefer?
Oreos. I'm not really a big fan of chocolate chip cookies. But if I'm gonna go Oreos though. I'm gonna go Oreos.
Definitely. I like Oreos, man. I love Oreos, but I do like my Oreos frozen with some almond milk. I like them a little bit more crunchier. It's a little weird, I know. That's one of the things I like, man. I like my Oreos frozen, man. It just got a good crunch to it when you get it like that.
Right.
Man, so now that we're coming down to the end of the podcast, I just wanted to say, man, thank you for joining me. Thank you for coming on the podcast. I really appreciated it. I just want to say that you are definitely an example to the youth out there. Being the age that you are, you're 23 years old. You know what I'm saying? You're looking to start your own brokerage firm. You know, you're in real estate. You're making strides to now plan for the future and things like that. Man, at 23, whew, man, if I was thinking about what I'm going to get from the calf today. Like, that's the most far in the future I thought at that age. Like, I commend you for that, man. And I think that you're being a great example for the youth. And I also think it's a great thing that you want to start this mentorship program once you start your brokerage and things like that, because I feel like you're definitely going to be able to reach back to the youth and really pull them because you're so much younger to them. And I remember that's one thing, like when you're young and somebody that's older is telling you something, you kind of feel like they can't relate. But being that you're a lot closer to them in age, you could be able to impact a lot of lives that way, man. That's great. So before we let you go, I definitely want you to tell everybody out there that's listening where they could find you, how they can get in contact with you, and any other things that you have coming up that you want to let people know about.
Okay. Well, you can follow me on Instagram at FrenchGoFlips, and on Facebook, same thing. Let's Go Flips. I need to create a Twitter, but I'm not really big on the whole Twitter thing. But you can definitely find me on Instagram, Facebook, both at Francisco Flips. Before I leave, the acronym for Flips, a lot of people automatically go to real estate when they hear Flips, but Flips actually is an acronym for Forever Learning, Implementing, and Prospering. That's pretty much what Flips stands for, and that's eventually probably going to be the name of my mentor once I get there. So Forever Learning, Implementing, and Prospering.
Wow, that's dope. That's dope, man. I like that acronym. I might adopt that for myself. We have about 1 minute and 30 seconds left, and we got a question that came in from Top Light 79. He wants to know, what do you do to help stay focused and not let outside things derail you?
So I basically have this journal of golden laws and favorite proverbs that I wrote down. And I think, and I got it right here, because I always read it in the morning and at night when I go to bed. And it's just like proverbs just to remind of, like certain things, because proverbs to me are just like little gems that you can take knowledge from. So I think the biggest one that I've always listened to is the number 5 that I wrote. That smooth seas don't make skillful sellers. So once you're going through adversity, you have to go through certain things in order to be skillful to later learn how to handle situations whenever it arrives. So every time that I'm going to help me stay focused, I just remind myself that smooth seas do not make skillful sellers.
Ooh, I like that one. That's some gems right there. Top Flight, take some notes, buddy. And everybody else, thank you guys for joining us. It was a great conversation. Great. Anybody that's just now joining in, please go back and watch the playback. Francisco was dropping gems, man. So we'll catch you guys on the next one. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thanks, Francisco.
Appreciate you, boss.
Peace. This show is brought to you by Believe in Yourself. Don't forget to visit IBelieveInMeInc.com. That's IBelieveInMeInc.com for all your BIY swag. That's I Believe in Me Inc. for all your BIY swag. and we'll see you on the next episode.